the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
With that supporting cast, Ohio State, could definitely be better than he was at Kansas State. But also, as a side note, like Quinshon Judkins, people are going to be so disappointed when they watch him play this season. Like, this video game stuff is just taking the Quinshon Judkins hype like off the rails. Like, he's turning into like Tecmo Super Bowl Bo Jackson over here. Like, people are going to be really disappointed when his spin move is not just like a cheat code and he doesn't score a touchdown every time he touches it.
I love it. Buy or sell. USC is being slept on and Oregon is overrated.
I think I have to sell both of these because I'm looking at USC and I mean, like, do we even like want to talk about their defense anymore? Like, are we even going to talk about, like, is this the year that the defense gets it together?
I'm saying that D'Anton Lynn's a great hire. They've got talent on defense, Matt Green. I'm here to do it. I will do it for you. D'Anton Lynn. UCLA was 14th in scoring defense under Lynn last year. Oregon was 9th in the conference. USC.
It's a culture. Defense is a culture.
Oh, wow. Here's what I'll say. The biggest thing that people overlook about, like, there's a lot of reasons that USC season went off the rails a little bit last year. They were 7th still. They were still, even in a year that went off the rails, 7th in long scrimmage plays across FBS. They were 75th in turnover margin. If you remember, they were 1st in 2022. I think they flip back to the norm. I think that would be super helpful, is they regress back to the norm on that regard. I think that they're not going to be 14th in scoring defense right away, but they got a guy who is legitimately a great to borderline elite defensive mind. Like, this is a huge upgrade. Like, I think it's going to take some time for people to get used to USC being better on that regard. But the thing that worries me more than anything, like, Miller Moss is a 4-star quarterback, and I think people like look at him as like not a potential next great Lincoln Riley quarterback, which blows my mind. He was great in the bowl game, but I'm like, Miller Moss was not like this untalked about prospect. He was a 4-star kid. Like, he's a blue chip quarterback. He just has been waiting and he's undersized a little bit, but
we're talking Caleb Williams though.
I mean, that's fine, but like Miller Moss, like Lincoln Riley Lincoln Riley's gonna be fine. If he wants to run with Miller Moss this year, I think he's probably gonna be right on Miller Moss. I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt there. All that being said,
there's reasons to think he will finish at no worse than 2nd in the Heisman Trophy voting, because that's what every Lincoln Riley quarterback does.
I'm saying, like, Miller Moss is gonna be good. Hey, folks, guess what? Miller Moss, you can make your jokes now. I guarantee you he has a great year at Southern Cal this year, guaranteed. But the problem is, I think USC is gonna be a lot better. But this schedule sucks. Like, it's brutal. I don't know if you feel the same, but this schedule for USC, like, you open up in Vegas against LSU, brutal. You go to Michigan 3 weeks later. Wisconsin, who might be better at home, right after that. Go to Minnesota. Okay. Here you go. A date with Penn State at home. Then flying to Maryland. Then you get Rutgers at home. Then you fly to Washington. Then you get Nebraska, who we'll get to in a second, at home. Then you go to UCLA. And then you get
a date with UCLA, though.
Notre Dame at the end. Like, it's just, there's so many toss-up games here, Matt Green. Like, this is a tough schedule for USC in their first year in the Big Ten. I don't like the schedule at all. I think it kind of reminds me of Florida, where I think USC is actually going to be a better overall team than they were a year ago. And I think they'll make some strides and be a little bit better off than people might have anticipated them moving into the Big Ten. But I don't think it will come up in the wins. I think this is like a 7-5, 8-4 win team. But I think they're actually going to be a solid, more balanced 8-4 team. I'm still buying the Lincoln Riley stuff. I think he's gonna break through at USC, and I think the D'Anton Lynn hire will end up being a big one for them.
When the schedules are made, Georgia Clemson was definitely the sexiest game of the opening weekend, but LSU USC is like low key. Like, that's really gonna determine the directions of both of those teams' season. It could really just change the perceptions of both of those teams early on. But I don't know. I mean, I just look at them as far as them being overlooked. It's like you're saying, the schedule's tough. They finished 5th in the Pac-12 a year ago, picked 6th by the media this year. It's like, that seems about right. Like, I can't have them ahead of Oregon or any of the big three that are usually at the top of the Big Ten. So I think that seems about right. And Oregon, I do have my like reservations on Oregon, just coming in and thinking they're just going to be like one of the elite teams in the Big Ten right off the bat. It just doesn't seem to happen that way when teams change conferences. But I don't know. It's like all signs point to them being one of the best teams.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.